Hi there and welcome back to another tutorial with Mr. Arsenault. Today we're going to look at converting symbols into instances via code so that we don't have to code every little piece we want to collide with. Let me show you what I mean. So firstly, to start off is I'm going to select my oval tool and draw myself a little character. Make sure that my character can be movable. So to do that, I'm going to convert them into a symbol. Right click, convert to symbol, and let's call him, doesn't really matter, I'll call him ball. Okay, I will label his instance as ball_MC, just so you guys can see. Saving for auto recovery. There we go. Ball_MC. Okay. Now I'm going to select my code snippets. Action script, animation, move with keyboard arrows. You can see it's already selected because it's one of my favorites. There you go. And because it's previously selected, now if I run my program, you'll see that my ball_MC is movable with my keyboard arrows. Here's my mouse, which is spinning uncontrollably, and there is my ball. Okay, now that we have that done, close out of there, go back to my main timeline. Now automatically you'll notice that it creates an actions layer specifically for its code snippets. And there's a layer 1. This is what I created. So I'm going to go back to layer 1. And I'm going to draw myself a nice little block. Now my block is going to be black with a black outline, so it's easy to see. There we go, and I'm going to put my stroke back to 0 or as small as it can. So that way, when I have my block here, I can convert to a symbol, and I'll show you why I did it the way I did. Right click, convert to symbol. Now here's where the magic happens. Okay, I'm going to call it block. But under advanced, I'm going to hit the drop down arrow and select export for action script. Now you'll notice that under class, it has the exact same name that I just created. This is the most important step because this is the name we're going to have in our code. Now typically for classes you always capitalize the first layer or first letter, but because I haven't actually taught any of my students that just yet, all the code reflects a lowercase. So I'm just going to leave it as block with a lowercase, and Flash is telling me, do I want Flash to create a class automatically for me? Class path, and I do. So I click OK, and now it's a symbol. It does not have an instance name, as you'll see, but under library, when I select block, it has a linkage name. This is the class name that we had just created. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to build up our actions. Okay, so there's code for this on D2L. But you might notice that it says has to be within a main function. So what does that mean? It means that I first have to have, I'll zoom in for you guys. Stage.add event listener event ent.enter frame, comma, and I'll call this, I don't know, update, because I'm not updating it every frame. Okay, now I have function, update, open, EVT, and it's an event, open curly brace, close curly brace. Now because I have set up my function, it's technically empty, it has no body, only because the curly braces are empty. But if I didn't have the curly braces, I wouldn't have a function at all. So, there's a file on D2L which is perfectly fine. Oh, now it decides to load. Rest assured that this code is on D2L. It's called symbol hit test workaround. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to type it in for you guys. So I'll zoom in once it decides to actually listen to me. Okay, so here's a code that's on D2L. We have a for statement, a variable we're going to create. Call it I. Variable I equals 0, semicolon. If I is smaller than the number of children on the screen, and a child on the screen is essentially a sprite or a symbol, something that's actually not a graphic, so anything that's been imported. So if it's smaller than number of children, semicolon, I plus plus. Close your bracket, come down, open your curly brace, close your curly brace. Now we've essentially defined our for statement, which is going to loop. It's a for loop. So now we need a body for it. So the body goes as follows. If we're checking for a child, get child at bracket I. So if the symbol we're looking for is a block, and that's a linkage name we used, then well, what's going to happen if it's a block? Well, we're going to open up our curly braces to define what's going to happen. We're going to set another variable. Variable b for block is going to be equal to get child at I as movie clip. Muy. Scroll over. Come on, a little bit faster. Okay, now what does this mean? This means that anytime we see a block, we are going to store it in the variable b, and we're going to treat b as a movie clip. So essentially, we're giving the movie clip block, which is just a symbol now, an instance name of b. So all of my blocks at the time, it works well for a hit test. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. We're going to say if bracket b dot hit test object, which is not familiar. What are we hitting with? We're hitting ball underscore MC bracket for the ball, a bracket for the if statement. Then what's going to happen? Well, let's just do a simple trace statement. Open quotation marks, hit. There we go. Now eventually, as you get good at understanding the code and actually using this, instead of having a hit statement, you'd say go back to screen 1 or go back to the spawn point. So your x would be 25, your y is equal to 25. It takes you in the top left corner practically, and that way you can go back through your maze. And we wait for it to export, assuming no errors are present. Then when I move into this guy, it'll say hit. Awesome, which is exactly what it does. Well, Mr. A, that's nothing special. We could already do that with an instance name. You are right. But if I drag out multiple blocks, and then I run my program, will it work on any block? Now we know it works on this block. Hit. Try this one down here. Hit. Awesome. Scroll over to this one. And hit. I'm going to assume that it works for this one. So the main premise of having my blocks the way they are is that when I press Q to free transform, I can manipulate their size. So now I can make myself a little bit of a maze. And my little ball has to go between the maze not to get hit. And that's the idea of having one block that can change shape. and now you'd have a power up so that you could go faster. You'd have a power up so that you shrink, have an opening. So if this opening is a lot smaller, go up to there, bring another one. What you'd have to do is have another, say a power up or a, I don't know, a coin, something that you want to eat, like Pac-Man. Say, hey, every time I go through that hole, I get hit. Well, then what you do is you draw yourself a nice little power up, animate it nicely, and so that way the user thinks, oh, maybe I have to do something with this guy, and off you go. Well, that is a lesson. Hopefully you guys can combine that with the score and the hit test object. And if you're interested, there's always another YouTube coming up on how to make blocks move across the screen for you to avoid them. And you can combine the code with this to make it a nice, cool little video game-like effect. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.